What up peeps, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you what I consider a must know when you're doing reverb. So I have loaded up this vocal that I've actually used before.
Baby, let's create more density.
Because I'm allowed to, and it's a good example. So the first thing that I'm going to do is actually put on some reverb. I could use Supermassive, though I'm gonna use Fruity Reverb just for demonstrational purposes. So I've intentionally put on a lot of reverb, so take a listen.
Baby, let's create more density. Sparks turn into fire unintentionally. Hold me, feed me, lock the door and give you all me. Squeeze me, show me that you're sensual.
So this reverb is pretty nice, I think, but there is one problem. It blends so much with the main signal of the vocal, which makes everything sound a bit messy. You can still achieve the reverb effect without getting messy. And I'm gonna show you a quick tip to automate this process. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is scroll this reverb down. I'm gonna right click and search for peak, Fruity Peak Controller, double click it. And as you can see, here is our peak controller. You can actually go ahead and close that one down. Now what I'm gonna do, you can either take the wet from in here, or I know Valhalla Supermassive does not have a wet function. It has a mix, but you can't really automate those, I believe. Anyways, you can either use this one or you can use the one on the mixer, which I'm gonna use just for demonstrational purposes because it is very versatile. So what I'm gonna do is actually just right click it. Then I'm gonna link to controller. You'll see this little remote control settings window pop up. Now here it is important that you choose that it is the peak controller and you select the peak function. Important thing that you have it inverted because you actually want it to lower the volume as the signal goes up. Click accept and we should actually be ready already.
Hold me, feed me, lock the door and give you all me. Squeeze me, show me that you're sensual.
So I'm actually gonna turn the wet a bit down because I think the reverb is overall too loud, so I just turned it down. I have the privileges of a wet slider. So what does this thing actually achieve? Well, if you look in the peak controller,
Baby, let's create more density.
you'll see the waveform of the main signal, and we're actually using that to automate the wet signal of the reverb. So whenever the signal strength goes up, the wet goes down, essentially turning down the volume of the reverb. And that is also why it was very important that we selected the inverted. Otherwise they would, you know, the louder, the more reverb, which I don't think that sounds... I think that's going to be an interesting effect at least. So all in all, this just helps your vocal peak through the reverb actually, because we're just turning down the reverb when we don't need it. And then when the vocal stops, it turns up the reverb again. So I've just quickly consolidated one of each version, one with the peak controller trick and of course one without, and I want to compare them. I really want you to hear how this vocal has so much more room to breathe and isn't drowned in reverb compared to this one. So let's hear the standard reverb.
Baby, let's create more density. Sparks turn into fire unintentionally. Feel my body moving in ecstasy. And pour your gasoline all over me. Hold me, feed me, lock the door and give you all me. Squeeze me, show me that you're sensual. Baby, let's create more density. Sparks turn into fire unintentionally. Feel my body moving in ecstasy. And pour your gasoline all over me. Hold me, feed me, lock the door and give you all me. Squeeze me, show me that you're sensual.
Now you can actually do this with more than just reverb. You can do it with delays too. So here I've actually made my delay and I'm gonna use the built-in wet button actually for this one, just because. And I'm gonna link it to controller. I'm gonna select peak control peak. Don't forget to invert it. I'm actually gonna turn off remove conflicts because that will actually remove the reverb automation kind of deal we have going on. Click accept.
And pour your gasoline all over me. Hold me, feed me, lock the door and give you all me. Squeeze me, show me that you're sensual.
Now, of course, the more signal you actually have to begin with, the more your knobs are actually gonna turn. So if you're not getting the effect you want or it's not as dramatic, you could go in and just click this normalize. That will actually boost everything amplify everything so that your peak is at 0, I believe. So the video ends here, but I suggest that you go ahead and play around with this method to see what kind of stuff you can do. I mean, I've just brought up the subject, you know, and there's so much you can do with this. Well, anyways, thank you guys so much for liking, subscribing, and thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, stay lit, folks.